That's absolutely right, Shannon, and I want to point out as well, they could very well, here he is, the president. I'm going to cut off that train of thought as the president descends the stairs after a brief wave. Barack Obama making the last few steps, and a salute, and a very enthusiastic handshake to Governor Lincoln Chafee, and now to Jack Reed, senior senator from the state of Rhode Island. President's taking a few minutes to talk with the both of them. Again, of all the international trips that the president has made, a short flight from Westchester County, New York, a very easy operation, but don't think this is an easy operation for those that plan a presidential visit and all the logistics associated with that, because it truly is not.
And of course, Governor Lincoln Chafee has a relationship with President Barack Obama. They both served in the U.S. Senate for a couple of years together before, and Chafee's definitely been to several fundraisers for the president before, and I believe vice versa too. So they have a relationship, all three of those men there.
They do indeed. Whenever they've been spotted in each other's company, it's always cordial, as you would expect. That history, as you mentioned, Steve, with then Senator Chafee, and one can imagine that factored into the equation when the president declined to throw his endorsement into the 2010 race. Bill Clinton was here 4 years ago and did back Frank Caprio, as we had reported, but the president was absent from that scene, perhaps because of his close personal ties with now Governor Chafee, who is finishing out the rest of his term. And of course, at the end of this calendar year in November, we will have a new governor of the state of Rhode Island. I'll tell you, the president, Steve and Shannon, as you see, along with all of us, taking a while to talk to both of them. These are men that he knows well from the Washington Circle. Of course, Senator Reed, with some pretty high-power posts in the United States Senate, with his military experience, his knowledge of foreign affairs. He has been very much in the mix as to some of the international crises of late, whether it be Ukraine, whether it be Russia. And here comes the president walking after his brief powwow with the governor and the senior senator. He's walking over to the pen of spectators, of onlookers, those that are not us, those that have cameras, that want to get a little bit of FaceTime with him, and that is exactly what he is going to do. A bunch of boom mics overhead trying to get some of those off-the-cuff remarks as the president works the crowd of credentialed VIPs, and I believe some Coast Guard members are in this crowd as well. I see them in their blue uniforms.
I'll tell you, Jared, I covered a presidential visit when I was living in the state of Arizona in 2009, and it took a while for him also to get off of Air Force One. I don't remember a moment like this, though. You know, this was many years ago, obviously, when the president was still a new president. I don't remember him walking over to the crowd and greeting people and taking pictures and shaking hands like you're seeing right now in these live pictures. Again, this is at TF Green Airport in Providence. You're looking at live President Barack Obama on the tarmac right now. So it's interesting to see that kind of the transformation of the president over the years now, you know, meeting with U.S. Senator Jack Reed and Governor Lincoln Chafee, and now taking time to greet people here that are just here really just to see the president for just a moment, getting a lot more than they probably expected.
And you know what, Steve, you're absolutely right about the variability that comes with a meet and greet like this. It depends on how stacked the president's schedule is. Perhaps it depends sometimes on what mood he is in, whether he wants to work the line as he is now. It's gorgeous weather here at TF Green Airport in Warwick. Quite understandable that he'd like to spend a little bit of time in the sunshine before making his way down to another beautiful place here in our state, Newport, down on the very scenic and picturesque Rhode Island coast. The media now breaking up that was traveling with the president.
Jared, can you give us a sense of how big that crowd is? Because we're obviously getting a more cut-off shot as we try to close in on a close shot of the president. How many people are gathered for his arrival?
Yeah, it's a tough shot to get from this perspective, Shannon, but I would say several dozen. Oh, math is never something you want to ask of a reporter, one of my weaknesses. But several dozen are here in this pen, packed in rather close together in either a triangular or square formation, and they were let out a considerable amount of time previous to the president's arrival. Again, it's a very highly choreographed ballet where you get all the pieces into place as soon as you possibly can.
And we've even got kids on shoulders over there getting a look at their nation's president.
Nothing like the thrill of seeing the President of the United States, whoever occupies that office when you are young, and perhaps when you are old. Something that you carry with you, a presidential visit where you get to shake the Commander-in-Chief's hands. And now, after that rather sizable, perhaps by presidential standards, greeting window, the president is finally walking over to the first Sikorsky helicopter in the line of two. As we had speculated, it looks like he will be flying down to Newport. He could possibly be motorcaded from there. He goes up the stairs as soon, and he says good evening to the Marine pilots, highly skilled up front. As he takes the seat, a second he steps onto that aircraft, that helicopter, it becomes Marine One. And I wanted to point out something, Shannon, as the president was making his final steps there. As you say, listen, it is quite possible that they land the president at a smaller airfield down there and that they finish the rest of the trip by motorcade. So there could definitely be that impact on traffic. I don't know because I'm not on the other end. Regardless, there would be restrictions of travel in place for a presidential visit. So it is an inconvenience for who's ever in the immediate area. But again, the president doesn't always come to Newport, Rhode Island. He is now firmly aboard Marine One, as the rotors will start here momentarily and it will take off from TF Green with one identical Sikorsky helicopter behind it.
And Jared, the president is going to Newport to take part in a fundraiser, correct? Just talk us through all of that, why he's actually in Newport there.
That's right, at a private home this evening, the fundraiser, or this particular gathering, which is very high priced. I believe it's $20,000 to some $30,000 a head, to have some intimate time with the President of the United States, get to shake hands, rub elbows, have a drink. And this is to benefit the DCCC, which is a rather hard acronym to get out, but it is the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee. On the Senate side, it's the DSCC. And the money raised here tonight will go towards the election efforts, of Democrats to the U.S. House of Representatives as they try their very best to attain a majority in the House. And we're going to leave it there as Marine One takes off and throw it back to you. A very happening scene here at TF Green Airport. We'll continue to stay trained on this.